Welcome to the real world. I can show you the world.
And then?
And you'll be in a world of legendary moments will be captured. So stand up, scream, and make sure the boys feel you.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
What is going on, everybody in the NFL? Because now it is growing and it is beyond Cowboy Nation, of course. Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and like always, my co-host, Gametime Bryan. Nope, you got to go up. You got to go up on this one. You go up. There you go. There you go. And I go down. There it is. That's how it goes.
Yeah, there it is. There we go. I got you. I'm looking over here. I should be looking there. What's up, everybody? How are you, Phil?
I'm doing well, man. I'm busy. We usually text back and forth, and there's been basically almost silence.
Yeah, I know to leave him alone sometimes. I mean, he's cool. I mean, he'll get back to me, but
yeah, it's been
Phil's
pretty crazy.
Busy these days.
Yes, and
me, I'm kind of like, I may have a shit show here or there, but I basically know my schedule.
I would like to have the problem of being busy and still doing a show because we are still in the hunt and still being able to pursue a championship. But those are problems that I don't have to worry about, unfortunately, this year. Game time, but you have a broadcast, the whole thing that you're going to be doing tomorrow, kind of like a final thing of the season. You're going to do any USFL stuff?
I was thinking about it. I don't know that I'll do every game, but I kind of enjoy the whole streaming, live, and just interacting with the fans. But we'll see, or UFL, whatever the hell it's called.
UFL, that's right. Yes.
I mean, I probably will do a game or two. Maybe we could do it together. There's no game plan. Yeah. I seldom have a game plan. I'll throw a horrible thumbnail together, and I'll say, "Hey, I want to stream."
Your thumbnail game has been getting better. It's been getting better, man. I like it.
But I steal a lot of people's stuff just because I don't put the time into it. So I'll steal a pick and then add my flavor to it. But it is what it is.
Well, one thing you were talking about, exactly, you were talking about chatting with the fans. Let's talk about him. We got Vinny in here early, got JJ, and of course, Crystal Caramel Corn, Mike Aldana is in here. Let's see, as they were talking, Stacy's in the house. Hey, Roland's Review. And Isaac Ramirez is in here. Jeff Lee, Twiz in here, feeling the same pain no matter what. So many switching around of NFL coaches and stuff. Maybe coaches you were talking crap about 2 years ago is now all of a sudden on your coaching staff. So Lord Nova is in the house. Anybody else that we're seeing as we go further down? Don't want to miss anyway. David Cowboy in the house. The one and only Ron the Don Smith. I like that, man. That's
my guy. That's my guy. What's up, Ron?
Rhonda is in the house. Hey, sweetie, how is it going? Here we are, man. The offseason, unfortunately, is here. And, of course, one of the offseason moves is, of course, Dan Quinn. If you've been showing, I mean, everybody has that mixed thoughts of Dan Quinn, leaving and everything. Guess what? Either way, he's the one that left. He's the one that chose to go to another one. Whether he felt that it was the best timing for atmosphere, just in the atmosphere, the way that he really read the room, and a lot of the Cowboy Nation was kind of ready for him to possibly move on. They needed some kind of change from this offseason, and of course, I think it's not a bad move on both counts. I think we've talked about it in the sense Dan Quinn, it was a very tempting offer to go to Washington and what they had to offer, but for defensive coordinators, a lot of them already being hired within the process the first couple of weeks since, and we not being in
Dallas,
that.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're not in that hunt because we don't know what's going to happen with Dan Quinn. So
Dallas
Dan Quinn kind of.
Dallas will be late to their own funeral. That's just how we.
What's up, Clemente? So
what's up, Clemente?
So that's the thing. It's like, and so with all that in mind, how again? I think
Definitely.
we've talked about Zimmer before, but how do you feel about the hiring of possibly Zimmer with the fact that you weren't there early for hiring?
Well, I hadn't talked to you about we texted a little bit, but about the Dan Quinn with you. Everybody knows listen, I get a lot of crap. I defer. I think it's a really good situation for Dan Quinn. I just do. I don't know. I think Dan Quinn, his time had come and gone. We don't know what happened behind the walls of the Star. We don't know that he didn't say, I need Bobby Wagner last year or maybe both years. I find it hard to believe that we would have been in that situation with the lack of linebackers because of Leighton Vander Esch getting hurt and Overshown got hurt in the preseason. So we don't know what they didn't do for Dan Quinn. Now, we do know, we've already covered it, Phil, about Rod Marinelli, them catering to these coaches and basically sometimes changing their whole draft strategy to appease one of their coordinators. Yet in this case, I'm not saying they didn't do it in the draft, but you got to tell me that they've done nothing in free agency. Anthony Barr, is that what we're going to do?
Yeah, but those are of course those are years that they said they weren't going to do anything in free agency. But
yeah, I know.
So this year they're signing
gone.
it differently. When I look at, of course, Dan Quinn, I look at the big games. I love our defense. Don't get me wrong, our defense was really, really good. But it's just we even under Rod Marinelli, we just struggled to stop the run.
I gotta call Crystal out right now.
Go ahead. What's going on?
Well, I want to know Phil's reaction. I know my opinion on it, but I'll take it. I'm 52, so I'll take it. Crystal called you, but he's cute though. Now, is cute like when you're young, right? Like, I don't want to be called cute, Crystal.
No, I'm okay with that.
Say,
I'm okay with that.
But
thank you, Crystal.
I mean, at this point, I'll take it. Phil, I don't know. I think he's, I'm just saying. I think he's better than cute. I'm just saying.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But
I know it's a little weird, but I'm just saying. I had to call it out.
So
but anyway, and I'm happily married. So, everybody don't go there. But
somebody's gonna clip that now. Mark is gonna clip.
I had a Buster Stones. Hey, Alina, how are you?
But
Dan Quinn's gone real quick. Dan Quinn's gone. He's in the division.
I like that they blocked Al Harris from being interviewed. That's what I do.
Yeah, I like that. What's up, Weed? How are you, brother? That and London Wells. We said no soup for you. You can't talk to them. So, it was time. But I would like to know some of the stories as to why. It didn't seem very friendly, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying he was mad, but he was excited. One of the first things he said was, I'm glad to be in a place where winning now means something.
Yeah.
I don't know how you take that, Phil. I want to know what you think. They haven't heard your response to Dan Quinn. They heard me at nauseam.
I think anybody, like, Cole Beasley, for example, all of a sudden, he leaves the organization and he gets really mouthy and stuff like that. I think it's anything. You're in rival situation, but he's not wrong. I mean, we talk about the Jones and treating this as a family business that's going to be generation to generation. Let's keep that really, good and ready to provide for the future instead of trying to go all in, where that go all in mentality is kind of, thought of if you were in business, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to just go ahead and invest into myself and spend money. And then what you push for those championships. While this one, they're like, oh, we'll wait next year or the next following year. Oh, in 5 years we'll have it and stuff like that. And so that's what he's talking about, that urgency. I mean, I've heard we had what was it, the offensive coordinator or something, whoever was going for the job, didn't they back out of it because they were basketball-minded people that were there? So I mean, I've heard ownership is not the best in that sense, but
yeah. You got Josh Harris. He owns the 76ers. He owns the New Jersey Devils. Now he owns the Commanders. We call that a trifecta. Not to mention all the businesses. He's one of those guys where, he owns that. And that business owns that business. And oh my God, this dude has more money than he knows what to do with, and there's no way he can run an organization. I mean, I'm less of a Josh Harris fan rather than the situation. You know, you coming in with a number 2 pick. You have some talent on there. I just think the excitement that Dan Quinn will bring year one will make Washington very formidable. Now you go out and get Cliff Kingsbury.
Well, I mean, you got your draft picks
in May or
you get your
whatever.
You got your draft picks in order early into the round in each round, and then you have money to spend without worrying about any kind of refinancing before you even restructure or thinking about opening up even more money. Right there, you can become a contender within that first year if you can.
Ingredients to work with.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So for him to move over there, and of course us to get kind of late Zimmer, I'm very happy with the decision, and and I'll preach this is that I love the accountability that he brings.
Magic. I forgot about Magic.
Yeah, he's he has his moment,
but
he's good. He has the ability to draw people as well. I mean, so he may be able to draw some people to Washington just by being the owner.
Hey Jeff Lee, peanut butter and jelly is highly underrated.
Butter jelly time.
I'm telling you, it's highly underrated. I'll just leave it there.
So, but anyways, when we're talking about Zimmer, I mean, the run game. I think that's going to be something that he's going to change. That's what I feel. You're getting some linebackers in here. You're going to change it up on the defensive line, whatever you're doing. But this is a guy that he prides himself on being able to stop the run on his defense, even when he was a head coach. You know how head coaches, you get dragged everywhere, and so you can't focus exactly where you want to. But that defense for the Vikings was definitely top 5 in scoring, and so
what he did with Danielle Hunter, and I had talked about it. Danielle was a highly rated guy, but he had a lot of question marks coming out of LSU, and how he turned him into a really, really good player. Not to mention his linebacker play, Phil. The stud linebackers that he's had from Chad Greenway. On.
That sounded too. Sorry, guys.
So, what's up, man? Oh, okay. You got your medicine? Yeah, I have to set that up, buddy. I'm getting to it, man. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm happy you got it, Jeff. But yes. So I think it's a good thing. I'm not happy that it's in division. I'm not. Because it's going to happen. We're going to lose players in division, and it's like he knows our most intimate secrets. You know what I mean? So. Yeah,
but I mean, he knew Green Bay's, he knew San Francisco's, he knew, and it just to me like, when I look at our offense, I'm not. Of course, there's things that we need to plug in, whether we're talking about center or we're talking about some stuff in the offensive line. But for this offense to be able to move, I don't worry about that part of it. Yeah. It's the defense. I think there's some parts of. Okay, again, we need to look at offensive line, but what we need to really focus on that D line and linebacker.
You know what my problem with the whole thing is, Phil? And this is just my personal problem. What I don't like about the situation, I would just assume I would be more than happy if he was the head coach. That's all. I mean, I say
Zimmer?
that because how the hell is that going to work? You got Mike McCarthy. The reason why it worked with Dan Quinn, who wasn't his guy got fired, Mike Nolan. So, Jerry went and got Dan Quinn, and it worked out. They're both players, coaches. When you go, and Phil, you played college ball. At a practice, you'll have a coaching staff. I'm sure you've been through many, where one coaching staff will be a friendly guy, and he'll come and tell you, put his arm there, say, this technique, and blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
But then you'll have like another guy who will yell at you nonstop until you do it right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, my connection.
How's the internet?
Yeah, I think my connection is being stupid right now. Of course, this is
that
like
you or me?
I think that might be me, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
Oh, of course.
What's up, Elena? How are you? So, I'd be curious to see how this is going.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be curious how this is going to work. So.
Well, I don't worry about it just because. Okay, so here's a couple of things that I look at. Okay, so Mike McCarthy brings in Nolan. It doesn't work out. Hey, you're an offensive-minded coach. Instead of worrying about where you're going to have to, let us worry about the defensive coordinator. Let it bring in the really good defensive coordinators. And I think a lot of the times when I look at defensive coordinators, there's a whole don't understand how to defend the motion, and I think that's more modern game. So I mean, you got Zimmer, for example. I mean, he sees these types of things. He understands how he needs to adjust his defense, and he's done really well with not a lot of great pieces sometimes, because he's putting people in position to make plays. And if you can give him some pieces on that defense, I mean, you're going to give him a lot of ability to be successful with his team. I mean, he got a chance like with a guy like Micah. I'm interested to see how he'll use him, what other pieces that he's able to get into this defense. But I have it on here. If you see it there, it kind of reminded me, because obviously we're going in here and he's an old defensive coordinator of ours, and of course now a newbie defensive coordinator. So it kind of reminded me of the Men in Black, where it's like old busted hotness, where he's talking about the car and he's just like, you were like old and busted, and this is new hotness, and then it's old busted hotness, and that's kind of where we're at, because and that's what it is. I mean, you kind of need that right now. I mean, we struggle with things that are so basic on this defense, and you hear Micah and them talking. They don't want to throw Dan Quinn under any kind of bus or anything like that, but there was a lot of times where these guys were out of position.
Yeah, it's bad, Isaac.
No, it's skipping. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. My internet is being all weird.
Yeah, it's bad. I can't. It's skipping, and like our Zoom call, you're paused, so I'm just kind of listening.
Okay, let's see. Do you want to? I mean, I guess we
I
can
don't know if
come
you
back
wanna
and
restart
restart.
it.
We
I
can
don't
restart
know.
the internet, but I don't know if that's going to do anything.
I know it's pretty bad.
Okay, let's.
Jack and Angela Meeker, I haven't seen you in. This is what happens. I can't. I can hear the music. I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? So that's what I'm saying. I got to complain to them just because this seems to be a right on the dot type of thing. So I don't know if it's some kind of update. I don't know if the neighborhood, everybody gets home at the same time. Well, what's going on here? But anyways,
that fees you're paying there, you should have the best internet going. So anyway. But yes, so where we were, we were talking Dan Quinn, right? And then you went into Mike Zimmer, what we got to look forward to. I was telling you, I just don't know how this is going to work, Phil. I would just assume us move on from McCarthy, have Mike Zimmer be the head coach.
But what makes you want to move away from McCarthy? Why? What is it?
He was unprepared. Him and Dan Quinn. I understand they were limited. Yeah. I mean, listen. Green Bay wins the toss, right? They take the ball, run it right down our throat for 7 points. Okay, not good, right? Not good on Dan Quinn. You should have done your homework. I guess you couldn't stop them all of a sudden. I mean, you weren't great against the run, but you were better than that.
Yeah.
So then our offense gets the ball, and far too many times throughout the year on the first series, can't have it in the playoff game. Yeah. We go 3 and out. So, and then it just kept happening. Then they get the ball back run it down our throat. It opens up everything. So the defense let us down, but the offense never did nothing until
So let me ask you a
useless
question.
stats in the second half.
If McCarthy's our offense coordinator instead of our head coach, do you think he keeps his job?
That's an interesting one. No, I'm more inclined to go with Zimmer as the coach and go get me some young offensive guru. That's just how I look at it. Go get me the guy, Washington guy. Cliff Kingsbury. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
You,
that's a good one.
you see where the league is going. Okay, McCarthy can't beat the 49ers. All right, he's had his chance. Either can Dan Quinn. My only thing is fine. We got Big Mike. He ain't going nowhere. All right, it's either that or sign him long term. Why are we doing the lame duck? We already talked about it. I get it, but if you're asking me the Mike Zimmer thing, okay, he can only do so much. So we need to just wait and see. We need to wait and see what they're going to do. Jerry Jones doubles down.
Yeah, I just look back and it wasn't even 2 seasons ago where he talked about McCarthy being his Tom Landry and how he's going to be here for 10 some plus years. And I mean, if this is the case,
that was JG.
Yeah, so if this is just the case, I mean, then that needs to be, that just needs to be signed. You need to get this out of the way. We need to figure out what the defense coordinator, what the next things are. Yeah, I mean, if the offense isn't going, I mean, 12 seasons, I get that whole thing, but I don't look at the coach going, okay, well, the coach is the reason why we can't get over the hump in the playoffs. This seems to be, this goes beyond him being here. I mean, you put Bill Parcells, a great coach like him, not being here. So it's just there's a lot of things that say, what hasn't changed throughout that whole time. And, of course, that's the Joneses and that little philosophy. Now, in most recent years, I have to kind of give them the fact that they have changed approaches to certain things. They have come out honestly and told us, hey, man, we're going to go ahead. We're not going to be active at all. Of course, we're getting all pissed off. We signed Anthony Barr, and we're like, it's just – hell yeah! Finally, something happens. But this year, of course, they say that it's going to be different, just like they say last year with the trade. There's going to be some trades. It happened, so I'm interested to see if they do back it up. I mean, again, I'm very hesitant. I think I'm like every Cowboy fan. I don't, I'm going to believe it with the moment that I see it. But even when I see it, it's going to be, unless it's like a Chris Jones, who out there, that you're going to pick up, that you're going to be like, wow, that's going to change everything. So, I mean, yeah, it's just a little ramble there, but, obviously it's the Joneses. I mean, that they need to change stuff.
David Cowboy.
What's that, David Cowboy?
Alan Williams first says that's when you need, and me, I've talked to Mark about this. But again, that's when you need your quarterback. He's basically saying that's when you need a quarterback to step up. So. Again, I think the quarterback gets too much praise when they win and too much negative.
The negativity when they lose. Yeah.
So it is what it is. Every once in a while, you need your quarterback to step up. I get it, but the way we were allowing the run, Alan, it was embarrassing. And that just opened everything up. There was people running wide open all over the field. That's why I would love to know whose idea was it to expose all those young linebackers early in the year? Me and Phil kept bringing it up. Mm-hmm. I can't believe this guy. I can't believe that guy. And we would expose them, and other teams would claim them, leaving us with nobody. And once Leighton got hurt, it was a wrap. Yeah. Mr. Cowboy says, I like Schottenheimer. Let him be more involved. I love Schottenheimer. So that would have been my answer to Phil if, elevate him to, offensive coordinator. He loves running the ball. And, that's what, that's what I would want. But you would want your head coach to make that call. That's the thing. Mike Zimmer, that's what cracks you up with with the Cowboys, Phil. Dallas wants a guy, but then they want their guy that they hire to do everything they want to do. You can't do that. Okay, I know you like certain people in your organization, but if you hire a head coach, he's got to bring in his own people.
See, right now, like if I was to bring in and change the head coach and everything and have one of those offseason, I would have to bring in somebody from college. I need somebody that's different. I need something to change it. Yes, I mean, that's like experimental, But there's guys like, for example, Oregon's head coach. I mean, that guy's. Everybody kind of thought he was going to be the next Alabama head coach, and that was the reason why he was kind of hovering down there.
Who's that? Chip Kelly?
No, not Chip Kelly. No. I'm talking about the guy that's there at now.
Oh, now, yeah.
So I mean, I would like somebody like that. Who did?
Alabama hired.
Yeah, they got it was their own coordinator, right? He was their own guy. I think they brought him.
He was coaching. What was that team that made the Final Four this year?
Oh,
one of the Washington, University of Washington head coach. That's who they went and got. Yeah, he may have had ties to Alabama though.
Yeah, no, I thought it was for some reason it was somebody within there. So, but anyway, I mean, I would want to bring somebody in like that. I like Zimmer as a defense coordinator. His track record of where he's been, defense coordinator for Dallas, of course, those Super Bowl years. You go to the Bengals. That's the only reason why Carson Palmer is within those times where and then you go all of a sudden you go over to the Vikings and you have Adrian Peterson. You got a running game, so now your defense is keeping you in games. Adrian Peterson is kind of slowing down the game and of course doing his thing. So that they had a really good connection. I just didn't think they really had a great quarterback situations there. So I'm interested to see what he can do with this defense. I'm interested to see what he can do with Micah. I think that's my key little piece there. Like you're talking about with Micah, you pay him so much money. Well, no, with his body of work, no. But I'm not getting rid of him either. I'm not going to just let him walk out the door. I think he can be a hell of a piece of the puzzle. But you need to put pieces around him. I mean, you can't. Yeah. The next person in line was, of course, D-Law, and I know we all, understand what D-Law brings, but Osa's a really good one, but he's not that game-changing D tackle, and there's nobody else on the offense on that defensive line that you really have to account for. You got to put two guys on this. You can't put two guys on everybody, So it's just you need that other guy, and that's where you miss these young dudes. You look back and you see that you could have had T.J. Watts and stuff like that. So it's just. Yeah, it does eat at me that you don't have a defensive guy on the line other than D-Law that people have to worry about. So that's what I would like to see into this offseason. Let's change it up. I know you said you like Derrick Henry. Man, I would love that too. What's I love Weed said? Jim back. What?
Brian Burns. He wants Brian.
See that?
Burns.
See right there, like that. Yeah, that's stuff that you have to worry about. Like when you look at San Francisco, I'm gonna use them as an example, but you got Fred Warner, and then you got Greenlaw that you have to worry about. That's a combo there. I mean, remember when we were talking about Jalen Smith and LVE at some point where they were actually doing well. That was a really good, nice combination to see. I mean, think about even back to the time with Parcell where you had Dat Wynn and Dexter Coakley. Those are good linebackers that two of them that was teaming up together to really do something. So I want to see that. I want us to get just a combination of linebackers in here. And guys, let's be real. Guys that look like linebackers too. I don't want my safeties all the time playing playing up on the line, Like I don't think we really have a lot of those guys in here that are like a Troy Polamalu. I mean, Damian Wilson, I guess, remember he was on the linebacker. He came in on the practice squad. What do you see those guys? Do you see those guys being released as well? Those ones that came in the end?
Yeah, most likely. Unfortunately, we need other than Overshown coming back, Leighton Vander Esch is going to make a decision in the
Colson. Yeah, are you talking about the Michigan linebacker, Ultra Cowboys? Is that who you're talking about? That would be pretty nice. And White, are you talking about White from Tampa Bay? Is that? I'm not sure.
Yeah. So that's where my fix is, and I wanted to get Ultra, like a couple of his comments here. Beyond, not the Dak is ass one. We know
he's ass.
Micah will win Defensive Player of the Year with Zimmer. We shall see. I think a lot depends on who else we put on that line. I think the best thing we could do is go out and get us a stud defensive interior. A DJ Reader, a Leonard Williams. Give me somebody like that in the middle, and then go give me a linebacker. Doesn't have to be Patrick Queen, but it's got to be somebody better than Bobby Wagner right now. Go out. Just sign me somebody now. In my perfect world, we would get a defensive interior in the first wave of free agency, a linebacker in the first wave of free agency, if not two linebackers. But
yes,
I understand you have Overshown coming back, but he's
no,
coming
you
back
can't
from an
expect
ACL.
it. Yeah, you got to expect it. He's not going to give you 100%.
And then you have Damone Clark, which is not going to have to lean on him that much. And then you go and you draft me one.
Yeah,
okay?
Damone Clark is I mean, I like him
Then
as
you go draft me
linebacker.
one.
I like him in the backup role rotation, relieving somebing because he'd be
White,
really good.
I like Devin White a lot.
Yes.
But if Phil brought him up, I like him. Cooper from Texas A&M, I was looking at him. I'm just getting into the draft, guys. I know Wilson. I know Ultra knows who I'm talking about. Wilson's, I like him as well. But I'm not really good with the with the names and everything. Just looking at it and seeing them briefly, there's a Wilson that I really like, probably third round. So, but
one of my
if you went
linebackers,
out and you did a defensive line and a linebacker that'll allow us. I really want the center from Oregon. I really want. You're gonna have to move up probably to 18. I don't care. Yeah. You go get him, Powers Johnson. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so he's not into Peyton Wilson. Yeah, I did hear that. I did hear he had his surgeries. Yeah, he has problems staying healthy. So maybe we can get a bargain on him. But he's unbelievable motor. That's the thing about him. But Stewart, yes, he's good. But I mean, I would be all in on a Devin White, like I said, and an interior. So that's a lot of surgeries. Damn. Double digits.
Wow.
But yeah, so and then you go and you get me like a center, like we get a running back in the first 3 rounds, and like I said, you get a linebacker, D-back, whatever,
There's
that's
some
how
good running back. I think there's some good running backs between 3 and 5. Where you can get them. Right now, I think that beginning, it's just either offensive line, interior offensive line. I think those are the two in that first 2 rounds. If you can look at that, your linebacker maybe in your 3rd round. You got Ohio State guy. I think it's Tommy Eckenberg or something like that. That guy right there, Eichenberg.
Yeah. He's not the most athletic guy, but he's good.
Instincts.
He's
got that instinct.
Yeah.
He's in every play. There's a reason why he was captain, of that defense. So it's like there's guys that'll fall there that you could definitely get some value out of. But you're right, man. If you want to get some power linebackers, you need to go out there and find that in free agency. I definitely agree on that because you can't really.
Cowboys on record, man. Look at him; he's calling his shot already.
Oh man! Keon Cole. I would love Coleman, man. Coleman or Wilson. I'm not gonna lie. Those two wide receivers for Florida State, but Coleman is definitely a beast. He's what we want. What's our guy? Our Tolbert. He's what we want Tolbert to be. That would be that guy. That you got CeeDee Lamb on one side, you got Cooks on the other side. You're trying to thin. Okay, well we got Coleman that can be that game changer guy.
Alan Williams says don't need a wide receiver 24. And this is the only thing I'll tell you, Alan. When we have good drafts, is we don't like pass a guy. If like when we got CeeDee
Lamb,
well, like we got CD, even with Micah Parsons, everybody said we needed a corner, we were linked to both of the corners, J.C. Horn and Surtain, but yet we ended up taking Micah. We were linked to Ryan Shazier, and then the Steelers jumped us, and we ended up with a guy named Zach Martin. So
Willie McGinnis, I think, is another one that we were going to get,
so
and
it's
then
like,
we didn't get.
Let's not reach. Let's not window dress. Let's really take the best players. If you have 2 players that are real close, not in the first round, though, you need to stick to your board, or why make a friggin' board?
One thing I got to look at.
Second round, if they're real close, then fine, go for your need position. But I think that's where we get in trouble. Think about it last year, Phil. We were at the draft. If they would have just taken Steve Avila, okay, I know that he was a part of the all-rookie team. If they would have taken my guy out of Florida, the Torrance, he's too slow. He's too that. All-rookie team.
Yeah, Osiris Torrance,
Yeah, like instead we took a Mozzie Smith, and now we're all holding our breath. And I'm on record as saying, hey, I'd make a call during the draft down to his ex-football coach with the Chargers and see if he wants to give us a third-round pick for him. But I know I'm giving up on him early, but listen, man, he didn't show me nothing. Nada. So, anyway.
No, I mean you're not wrong. I mean, we look at that, we definitely see the pieces that we could have had. We had some guys, of course, like Ultra Cowboy that bring out Sam Laporta that we could have had there as a tight end. Yeah, and so, but that's the thing is now with Dan Quinn going out the door, you don't have that influence dude that's like, yeah, you could have, beefed up the offensive line with, let's be real, there's chinks in the chain. We need to strengthen it back up and get this, and that's how you're going to give Dak any kind of comfort. Oh, you change the offense for this? No, man, give the man some damn time. Like that's what you need. You need to get your offensive, your running back some lanes. Like you're talking about going up the middle, but Biotis wasn't getting any kind of push to go up there. And now you're, one thing that I was excited about, and I'll bring this around. Is as we talk about defense coordinators, we talk about Zimmer and stuff. I got to bring up the fact that there's rumors that Seattle is going to be hiring Durden to be their defensive coordinator.
Yeah, yep.
Now, again, I'm excited about this move as well too, because I mean Durden, that's a great thing for him when he was coaching in the XFL or wherever he's coaching overseas or whatever. They won some championships with his defense as being a defensive coordinator, so he has the pedigree. But again,
he wasn't good enough for us.
No, he wasn't, and that's what we were talking about a couple past weeks or whatever. We were talking about what's his resume of people that have been successful under, as he's been a defensive line coach. Oh, well, there's D-Law, there's Parsons, there's Osa Digizua. Well, give me any defensive line coach. Wouldn't those three guys been your stars already? So you need to elevate other guys, and maybe Dorrance Armstrong, we can give him maybe that one. But is it more Dorrance Armstrong being Dorrance Armstrong?
So he'll be in Washington, or he'll be he'll be somewhere else.
Yeah.
I love weed. Michigan guys never pick, bro. Game, I told you. Yeah, you did say it. And I'm just...
Unfortunately.
Listen, I'm going to go into this draft with that same mentality, and it's going to come back to bite me. I'm already hearing rumors of a Chris Jenkins in the second round. No, thank you. Chris Jenkins Jr. But he may work out, but, it's their... it's their scheme.
What about Jeremiah...
React.
What about Jeremiah Trotter Jr.?
He's a little short, but yeah, I don't know. I would probably pass on him as well. I would probably go with.
Well, my second round pick is Sweat, the defensive interior from Texas.
Texas, right? Yeah.
That would be my. Yeah, that would be my second round pick. My first round pick was obviously if Oregon's guy is there, that's who I want. That's
Powers Johnson, but you got to go up to like 18. You got to jump Miami. And,
that's okay. I give him my third, and I won't pick till fifth again.
You got to jump Miami and Pittsburgh and go get your guy.
Yeah,
that's who I want.
Or give him next year's third or whatever like that.
Allen Williams. I like Cooper in the second round, but yeah, I'm starting to get excited when we're talking about the draft, but I'm still not as good with the names like Ultra and so many people are.
Ultra's been, why though? Because Ultra's been talking draft since week 10 and shit, and so right. So he's been telling us if you go back into the broadcast and you put live, it's just Ultra's like, hey man, I like the guy from Clemson and stuff, and you're like, damn, all right, Ultra.
I am so scared of Michigan players that I don't even know that I want Corum. And I probably should want Corum, but because he went to Michigan,
the linebacker, there's Colson, the linebacker from Michigan. I really like him, but man, that side of that helmet is really kind of the part that's like I'm like.
What's up, Kiana?
What's up? How's it going, Alan Williams? What's going on? Welcome. Yo, Dookie. Yeah, remember that?
Yeah,
you remember?
That's good. Hey, Dookie. God. What happened to the show? Nothing. They were just making weird noises.
Yeah, for like 5 hours and stuff. Like
after tomorrow, folks, me and you both, Michael Dana. Like I was telling guys, I might just pop on and just. I really need to do. Just do my research on the individual players before I go into these mock drafts. I really do. I've looked at it a little bit, but getting back to what we were talking about,
The coach is switching around.
I would
Durden.
have
We're
liked
talking
to
about
have
Durden.
seen him stay, but I don't know that I wanted him as my D coordinator. It is what it is, man. It is it. It's just a shocking ending to a season. Shocking. And we should have seen it coming. That's the problem. We should have seen it coming. But we move on. Tomorrow's the last game of the year. And then we start legal tampering in just a few short weeks. We'll know right away if the Cowboys are indeed going to be players, because I'm going to be all over them if the Eagles go out and sign a Patrick Queen, or the Commanders go out and make a splash. No, but I'm going to be all over you, Jerry.
Let me just say, if Commanders don't make a splash, that'd be just weird.
Yeah, they have
Let's
a lot
be
of
real.
money.
Got a lot of money. I would expect something. Now, if you can open up the pocketbook and get those while restructuring some contracts and stuff like that, I think that's where you open it up. You can't play the game of let's see if we can open up some money so I can offer you something the next 2 days. It's like, no, man, be ready.
You're working on a Dak contract now, Phil.
Yeah,
that's my thing. If you're keeping Dak, it's they get paid the big money. So if they made the decision, well, we're keeping them and we're re-signing them, then you it needs to happen now. You can't wait till opening a free agency. What are you doing, Stephen Jones? Get off the yacht and get in your office and come up with a plan, because we need to hit the ground running. Because we're all going to be here. I don't want to hear no excuses. Well, we got to make room. No, you had a month and a half, because you choked and lost in the first round again. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I mean? So, if J.J. McCarthy is there, I'm taking him, but they won't. I hear you, Alan Williams. Like I said, I'm just getting into the names. Obviously, I know a few names. I know the University of Texas has a lot of guys I like, so that I will tell you.
Good defense there.
Yeah, they're going to have a lot of drafted players in the first couple rounds. So, what running back do we want? I'm hearing things all over the board, but we have time to talk draft. But
what's that? What's that?
Braylon
Georgia.
Allen, there he is. He's tall though. But,
what's that?
Yeah.
What is that? Georgia tackle, right? Like memes or something like that.
Mims,
it's like
right?
6 Mims, or I think it's like he's like 6'7", 3'4", something like that. Like, oh man, you get somebody like that on the blind side.
He's an offensive tackle. He's like 6'8". He's just a beast, but they're saying he's slow and opie, kind of like Cyrus Torrance was, and he made the all-rookie team. So there's plenty of guys who we could get. It's just we need to address needs before we get there, But
well, right now, okay, let's just be real. I mean, like right now, it's going to open up here soon. But if there's somebody on the roster you're trying to move, this is the time that you would, this is the time after the season that we say, hey, this person's available. So that way, by the time you get into June, you're doing that whole post thing and all that. You're not having to just cut somebody because you're offering within a week. This is the time you need to be able to move it, because if you can get some draft picks to be able to use those guys for extra draft picks that maybe you don't have, this is the time to do it, man. Combination some stuff, move up, move down. I don't know, man. Just I want some draft picks as well too.
Yeah, David Cowboy, Gallup. I think we
can do a post. We can do a post June, right? I think we can do a post June.
We would get some cap relief unless we would have to eat some of it and trade.
Might be worth it. Change him Tampa Bay or something.
Yeah, I think he needs to change the scenery, to be honest with you. But I've had it with him. But again, this is our front office.
Shoot, I love Weed.
They didn't have to do.
If you're gonna jump, if you're gonna throw it, if you're gonna wish for something, do it, right?
What's that?
He's I love Weeds, like move up and get Marvin.
yeah. Marvin. Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean Michael Gallup, they re-signed him to a deal when he was injured. They were trying. How many times has you seen that come back to haunt him? Almost every time, whether it's J.Lo
more times
Smith,
than it been successful. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't work.
I can't really tell you a time that's been successful.
Right. I don't really know. Maybe Sean Lee. But that Sean Lee kept getting hurt, so I don't know how much that was. Yeah, I mean he made some Pro Bowls, but ultimately it got him, right? He would have been a Hall of Famer if he could have stayed healthy.
That'd been a great coach to have in here, linebacker coach.
Yeah, well, he got out long enough to realize it's not worth it. As long as you have the money, it's being a coach takes up a lot of your time. So, not everybody wants to do that. Steele definitely needs to be better.
Oh,
Alan
I
Williams,
agree.
but
Hey, oh man,
my thing is to go get me a center and a tackle. That's what I want. We have plenty of guards. We have plenty of
I
guys
agree.
who can play guard.
Yep.
So go get me a stud center. We there's a couple.
There are.
And unfortunately, there's one out of Wisconsin that I'm not as high on that I hope they don't go and get. But I want Powers Johnson. That's who I want. Go get him. He's right there. He's a beast. Yeah, go get him, and then go get me like a left or right tackle. I'm good. Yes, Cowboy Mafia, welcome. He did say that. That was his first interview. He said he's glad to be with an organization that has urgency. What does that tell you? That tells you all you need to know. But Jerry's saying he's going all in, so we're here to talk about it. So
Yeah, I don't know, man. What he was spitting over there wasn't false stuff, and he's just again trying to get his fan base, a reaction, getting something going on over there. So it's just, I got to give him credit. I don't know, man. It's just I'm interested to see. I got to give him credit here, and he's going to be able to do something. He's definitely going to be a force next year because they have enough money. They have the right draft pick positioning to make them a threat for the next year. They actually have to go out there and actually pick this stuff. I mean, that's the thing. I think what happened here with Dan Quinn as well, when I think about him and his defense and linebackers and all that stuff, it got to a point where he was really signing a lot of the guys that he brought up from Atlanta. And he just, I don't know, because of the whole team player whole thing that it
seemed like
he didn't want to get away with
end
it.
guys, but
Yeah.
they didn't allow him to bring anybody in.
There. So but I just saw there was a lot of those. So I didn't know if it was just wanting to keep his guys in here, and that's why a lot of those guys we didn't have big linebackers
Donovan
and stuff.
Wilson signing was the Dan Quinn thing, and the J-Ron Curse, who I think is gone. You might see J-Ron Curse in Washington, if I had to guess, but I think he's gone for us. So Donovan Wilson can thank Dan Quinn because Donovan Wilson wasn't really being used the right way. We had him playing deep, and then when Dan Quinn got here, he put him in the box, and he flourished, and he really came on towards the end of the year this past year. He was backed up early.
But when I look at that too, I mean, Dan Quinn again, he's a guy that's in the box. Where Zimmer, he's on the sideline. So that's where I want my defensive coordinator, man. I want my defensive coordinator to be able to talk to the guys, look them in the eyes. That's one thing I did not like about Dan was that he was always up in that booth. I concept why he was up there. I see the field and I can call the game better and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. The camaraderie that he had within that defense, it just seemed like a guy like that talking to you in the middle of a third quarter when you're playing like crap. I think that would have gone a long ways compared to being up in a booth and being over a phone. So that's the stuff of that I'm looking forward to with Zimmer.
Well, we can get to some good news.
What's the good news?
Not much. But I do have some good news. If you want to talk.
Good news. What are you talking? What's that?
The interview from Radio Row where Brandon Cooks and Gilmore wants to come back. Mm-hmm. So that is actually good news.
I like it.
Please don't screw it up, Stephen Catboy Jones. Please don't screw it up. Bring him back I would give him a 2-year deal. Make it the team friendly. But if not,
I say 2 years.
Bring it back for 1 year, whatever. I think they will because they did invest a 4th-round draft pick this year or last year. I don't know if it was last year. I think it's this year. So that's fine. It's always good to have a guy like that. So that's a little bit of good news. We got Deron Bland, who can go back to the slot. We got Trayvon coming back from injury. We got Eric Scott Jr. We still got Mukwamu. Who
I think you
I
got to
don't
just add somebody
understand
else in that mix. I mean, there's just got to be there's going to be people
and then
there.
you get a
If
drafted
somebody
guy.
falls like Quinn
why you
or
got-
Kool-Aid or something like that,
Yeah. Well, I think Kool-Aid, he would have to fall a little bit. But
Well, I was just saying, if he
that's
somehow
about-
fell, you never
Yeah.
know with how people are picking and stuff. Especially, I don't see the quarterbacks being as great. I see them more mid first towards the end if you're going to start picking them.
but you're
but
gonna get
but
what,
you're going
at
to
least
have them
3 of
early.
them.
But they're going to go early. They're going to go early.
Yeah,
you know
you're
this.
going to have at least 3 of them.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be Williams, a Caleb Williams, a Drake
I don't
May,
get it. I look at his game and I'm not impressed at all.
the
You know?
LSU quarterback, who I like out of the best of the bunch, but he's just so damn
Dude,
skinny.
I'm a homebody, man. I love Bo Nix, man. I think
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
a great quarterback.
yeah.
But again, I could be a homebody right there. So
Yeah. No, yeah, I like Bo Nix too. So, we'll see. I hope as
not
many
drinking
of
the
them go as
Kool-Aid,
possible.
David Cowboy. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah, you don't get that. You got that Morris Claiborne PTSD kind of stuff going on, don't you? Like whenever they pick that corner in that area, I'm like, I don't know.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to pick this. Like, so that's funny, but yeah, Nick's a show. Oh man, it's just I think he's pro ready, man. I think he again I was talking about C.J. Stroud early before the draft
You
and
know
everything,
what?
and he was
Yeah.
more pro ready. And you look into the season and how he played, and it goes to say, man, if you're pro ready in the offense, I mean, you're going to be successful no matter what offense you get thrown into, and I think he's just one of those guys that is. I just couldn't. Again, I never understood the Heisman Trophy going to the LSU quarterback. I wasn't really totally impressed with his game. So I mean, hey man, here we go with the draft. Right now what you see the positioning is all of a sudden the combine happens, days happen, and then all of a sudden it's all mixed in, and it's people that were going in the 5th round are all of a sudden going in the 2nd round. So it's like, ugh. Drake May best QB in this draft. See.
North Carolina. I don't know.
That's
But you know who my favorite player is? He's the absolute can't miss. If you're up there, take him. Is the Joe Alt, offensive tackle out of Notre Dame. He's about as a solid of a tackle that I've seen in quite some time. He is a stud. That's John Alt's son, long time. I think I don't know if he made the Hall of Fame, but yeah. Really, really good. So
Keon Coleman, damn it, yeah. that would be one of those. There's certain wide receivers out there that, yeah, if they're picking later on and he's just sitting there,
man.
yeah, he's definitely yeah. But yeah, as we get more into the draft, of course, we can start drooling as well when it comes to some of these. I just. Just seeing them go to other teams sometimes, man, especially when your team, picks and you're just like, what is going on, man? There was just, I think we had it this past year, and I'm just interested, you got to pick a running back, but, you got some guys there that are a little bit smaller. You already have somebody small on the roster. So do you waste that? Do you waste that pick before? It's just like there's so much that kind of goes into it. So I think you need to pick within the 3rd or 4th round if you're going to pick like a nice a stud guy that's going to possibly lead your offense. And then of course those other guys as backup. So I mean, if there's a wide receiver there, I think Coleman is definitely kind of one of those guys as well too. I mean, he's definitely a game changer. That Florida State offense kind of just changed once he was there. Look at that, man. We went defensive coordinator, and then all of a sudden we went draft and talking about draft guys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel this is how this offseason is going to go, man. We're going to this is the subject, and then by the end of it, we're talking about, like, oh, yeah, man, I bought my my Cowboys, coffee mug this past thing. It was a buy one, some random-ass subject, so. So, Brian, I think that's good. We had we had an hour conversation. I can't say that it was very productive, but we did an hour, man.
Yeah, well,
I had some trouble there, of course.
I mean, it's kind of hard. It's very frustrating how the season ended, but we got to Super Bowl tomorrow.
You're right. I love weed.
It's a good closing to the season. I can't believe I'm all over the map with my pick here, so I'll be curious to see who you think. Yeah, Darren Woodson definitely got screwed, Weed. Absolutely, positively, no doubt. But again, been there, done that. So maybe next year. Maybe we'll go to Canton next year. Weed.
So when I look at these two teams for the Super Bowl, I mean, again, right before the playoffs happen, what did I say about Kansas City? It's just like until Kansas City can all of a sudden turn it on. Is it one of those teams that do turn it on when it really matters? And they have, man. They've looked very impressive offensively and defensively, surprisingly defensively. I think the San Francisco 49ers are the better team. But I've seen San Francisco look very vulnerable against good teams. That they look very dominant. Going through the season, all of a sudden they played Baltimore, just got handed a thing, and so Kansas City was obviously able to handle Baltimore. So you think Kansas City should be able to handle it with that kind of turnaround, but that doesn't mean anything. But it's hard to pick against Kansas City because obviously Mahomes is in here again for the playoffs and the Super Bowl, and so it's hard, until you beat the champion. It's kind of one of those things. So, my instincts tell me to pick San Francisco, but it's hard to pick against Kansas City. But I still, I think San Francisco is going to be the better team. It just depends on Brock Purdy, man. I've seen him be very. You can tell it's just there's a lot of pressure there. If the pressure does get to him early, I can see him throwing some interceptions and letting this game.
Burst pipes.
What's that?
It's a pressure burst pipes.
And that's the thing. And I've seen him in this playoffs not be that guy that's leading this team. This team is so talented that they're kind of dragging him a little bit. And then he kind of gets into it. So I see that possibly happening. As long as he doesn't mess up too much, San Francisco, I think, should win this game.
Yeah.
David Cowell, you are correct, though, man. Mahomes is clutch. So it's going to be hard to beat.
My first instinct was going with the Niners. Then I got caught up in the best. The best coach is Andy Reid. The best the QB is Mahomes. Mm-hmm. That's usually who wins the Super Bowl. The line started out at 2.5 and has been at 2 all week. Nice. Everybody that I talk to, Good night, Libra. Lady Libra. Is rooting for the Chiefs, or is picking the Chiefs. So normally the public is wrong. We finally had a chink in the armor. The line just dropped to 1.5 earlier this morning. So now the line is finally moving. For everybody liked the Chiefs, but the line didn't move. That was kind of talking to me. But as I see this game going, I think the game is won by the quarterback. I hope my mailbox don't break. I dropped it. I got to glue it.
I like how he's so honest and stuff like that. He's like, man, I'm sorry, guys. Off camera.
Because I'm a mess. But I think this is going to be an epic football game. I think the Niners get out and score first. They're up 7-0 type of deal. Obviously, the key is the Niners run the ball. If they're able to run up and down the field, it's going to be a long day for the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. But I don't see that. I think the Chiefs defense, what they did going into Buffalo, which to me was the biggest surprise, especially how Buffalo ran it against us. Buffalo's a tough place to play, and they went in and dominated the game. And then they went into Baltimore, another hard place to play, and they played physical with their corners and stopped the run. So I think it's a close game. I think the Niners just leave too much time on the clock for Patrick Mahomes. I think that Patrick Mahomes drives the field. I think they have a decided advantage in the kicking game. And I think the Chiefs win 31-28. So a Chiefs plus 1.5 and the over the 47.5. I think the Niners think they win the game. You cannot leave Patrick Mahomes that much time. You just can't do it. And that's the one thing I'll take away from this. You give me there's a lot of pressure on Kyle Shanahan. You can say what you want. He lost to the Chiefs 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago. For a guy who has as many wins as he does, in the playoffs. If he loses this game, he's going to have a serious problem on his hands. That he's going to get labeled he cannot win the big game. That's just, they're favored in the game. You have to win this game, Kyle. You have to. Because, I don't know, Phil, I think that they're going to have to sign Mr. Irrelevant long term.
Yep.
They're going
at some point,
He's going to get he's going to have, it has to be this offseason. I can't imagine.
That's my thing. I think it could be sooner than what the contract says. I don't know.
It has to be.
He's
getting to a Super Bowl. You cannot do that. Don't pull a Dak. That's the one thing they're doing. They're going all in. We thought they were stacked before they got McCaffrey last year. Then they went out and got McCaffrey. And then they went out this year, right? We thought they were stacked with Bosa and, all the talent that they have. And yet they still went out and got a Randy Gregory. They still went out and got a Chase out of Washington. Mm-hmm. It's just like it's a glutton of talent on the defensive side of the ball. And they still almost spit the bit at home against Detroit. They almost blew the game. If it wasn't for a buffoon, Dan Campbell, taking 6 points off the board, 2 easy gimme field goals. Come on, man. We wouldn't even be talking about this. But let's go Chiefs, baby. Let's go. Let's ride.
All right. So great time here. Of course, you're going to be doing your broadcast tomorrow. And
5:30.
5:30. Okay, that's what I was about to ask you. Is like when's it going to start and stuff. But
we go 5:30. I'll do a build up. I don't even know if anybody's joining me, but I'll do a build up, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So hopefully, we'll see what happens even this past week. I mean, Dallas Cowboys. We were talking about the last week about what's the possibility of who's coming in. There's some guys that we weren't expecting, like Rex Ryan, to obviously. And then this one was announced. Of course, nothing has been signed or anything like that yet. But it's just word of mouth, right? So that's why I kind of put the little bitty quotes in here. It's not us. It's not us saying it. These guys down here, those are the ones that are saying it and stuff like that. So, Brian, I appreciate. Yeah, it's not us. So, guys, I appreciate you guys coming through. I appreciate you as well sticking around after that wonderful internet thing. Gotta love it, man. But Brian,
it knew.
So we'll circle back around. We'll figure out what our off-season things are going to be as well. I think each Saturday thing is going to be the thing to do for us. So guys, I appreciate everybody coming through. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think is going to happen in the Super Bowl. You can't be after the Super Bowl. Can't be cheating like that. But let us know what you think is going to happen. Who do you think is going to win? Who's going to be the Super Bowl MVP? I'm interested to see the halftime show. I know. I don't know if you are. I got Usher. Will be dancing and stuff. No. No, you're not going to be dancing during the middle of your broadcast?
No, not at all.
Well, one thing I appreciate everybody forgetting not to do is...
always ring that bell.
Damn right, guys. Take care.
Hey! We know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do, you're like a little screw loose type of guy, and that's how I am. So, I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
Gametime Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here,
Cool name. Superpowers?
broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studio.
Come on, are you gonna tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil. And, of course, my co-host, Gametime Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000. I don't even need to hear it.